It's time for the physical and spiritual manifestation of the book of Revelation. Donald Trump is confusion and chaos. They say every now and then we are going to have to do this. Step back from the daily onslaughts of insanity coming from Donald Trump's parasitic presidency and remind ourselves of the obscenity of it all, registering its magnitude and its full, devastating truth. There is something insidious and corrosive about trying to evaluate the severity of every offense, trying to give each an individual grade on the scale of absurdity. Trump himself is the offense. Everything that springs from him, every person who supports him, every staffer who shields him, every legislator who defends him is an offense. Every partisan who uses him against all he or she has ever claimed to champion, to advance a political agenda, and in so doing, places party over country, is an offense. We must remind ourselves that Trump's very presence in the White House defiles it and the institution of the presidency. Rather than rising to the honor of the office, Trump has lowered the office with his whiny, fragile, vindictive pettiness. The presidency has been hijacked. When Donald Trump attacked two MSNBC hosts, people were aghast. The condemnation came quickly and from all quarters. But his words shouldn't have shocked. His tweet was just another pebble on a mountain of vulgarities. Trump was being Trump, the grossest of the gross, a profanity against propriety. This latest episode is simply part of a body of work demonstrating the man's utter contempt for decency. In other words, Donald Trump is the beast. So then, Republicans have bound themselves up with Trump. His fate is their fate. They have surrendered any moral authority to which they once laid claim, rightly or not. If Trump goes down, they all do. It's all quite odd, this moral impotence, this cowering before the belligerent would-be king, a madman, and his legislative minions are holding America hostage. There are no new words to express it. There is no new and novel way to catalog it. It is what it is and has been from day one, the most extraordinary and profound electoral mistake America has made in her lifetimes and possibly ever. We must say without ceasing and without growing weary by the redundancy that what we are witnessing is not normal and cannot go unchallenged. We must reaffirm our commitment to resistance. We must always remember that although individual Americans made the choice to vote affirmatively for him or actively withhold their support from his opponent, those decisions were influenced in ways we cannot calculate by Russian interference in our election designed to privilege Trump. They also say that we must remember that we now have a president exerting power to which he may only have access because a foreign power hostile to our interests wanted him installed. We must remember that he has not only praised that foreign power, he has proven mysteriously adverse to condemning them or even acknowledging their meddling. We must remember that there are multiple investigations ongoing about the degree of that interference in our election, including a criminal investigation, and that those investigations are not constrained to collusion and are far from fake news. These investigations are deadly serious, are about protecting the integrity of our elections, our country, and are about a genuine quest for truth and desire for justice. Every action by this administration is an effort to push forward the appearance of normality, to squelch scrutiny, to diminish the authority and credibility of the ongoing investigations. So now, after a growing list of states have publicly refused to hand over sensitive voter information to Trump's ironic and quixotic Election Integrity Commission, White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders blasted the pushback as a political stunt. But in fact, the commission itself is the political stunt. The committee is searching for an illegal voting problem that doesn't exist. Trump simply lied when he said that he would have won the popular vote were it not for millions of illegal votes. And then he established the bogus commission using taxpayer money to search for a truth that doesn't exist, to try to prove right a lie that he should never have told. Yes, Donald Trump is a liar. This commission is classic Trump projection. There is a real problem with the integrity of our last election because the Russians helped power his win. But rather than deal with that very real attack on this country, he is instead tilting at windmills concerning in-person voter fraud. Donald Trump is depending on people's fatigue. He is banking on your becoming overwhelmed by his never-ending antics. He is counting on his capacity to wear down the resistance by sheer force. We must be adamant that that will never come to pass. Donald Trump is the beast. Revelation chapter 17, verse 8. The beast that you saw was and is not, and is about to rise from the bottomless pit and go to destruction. And the dwellers on earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will marvel to see the beast, because it was, and is not, and is to come. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman is seated. There are also 7 kings or leaders, 5 of whom have fallen. One is, the other has not yet come. And when he does come, he must remain only a little while. As for the beast that was and is not, it is an 8th, but it belongs to the 7, and it goes to destruction. And the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings or leaders who have not yet received royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings and leaders for 1 hour, together with the beast. These are of one mind, and they hand over their power and authority to the beast. They will make war on the Lamb, and the Lamb will conquer them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those with him are called and chosen and faithful. And the angel said to me, the waters that you saw, where the prostitute is seated or stands, are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. And the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute. They will make her desolate and naked, and devour her flesh, and burn her up with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to carry out his purpose by being of one mind, and handing over their royal power to the beast, until the words of God are fulfilled. And the woman that you saw is the great city that has dominion over the kings and leaders of the earth. Again, and all these are more signs